All right, thank you for staying with us. The safety of Nigerians for some years have been threatened by insecurity, and addressing this challenge is a priority, especially leading up to an election year. Security is top on the list of the many issues Nigerians want President Muhammadu Buhari's successor to tackle head-on. And the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, has shown that he has his ears to the ground. In his 80-page manifesto tagged Renewed Hope 2023 Action Plan for a Better Nigeria, security is top of the list of the many issues he will address immediately if elected the next president of Nigeria. But joining us now is former Deputy Governor of Lagos State and APC chieftain Otumba Femi Pedro. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you.
Now, you were part of those who put together this document, and I would like for you to perhaps give us an insight into how it was coming up with all of the issues. 80-page document tagged Renewed Hope 2023, from the title, how you guys came up with the title, and every other thing in the document.
Thank you very much.
Right.
This document that you're looking at, Renewed Hope 2023, is Asiwaju's brain work. This document is a combination of decades of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision and thinking about a better Nigeria. In fact, every sentence, every page has his input in it. Even some of his words he uttered, ordinarily you find them here. So this is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's document. It's no other person's document. In conjunction with the party, APC, because this document has been vetted by the party, consultation with all members of the party, and it's a complete document that covers every aspect of governance in Nigeria. Every problems, every issues that we face. Asiwaju has said to everyone that is prepared for this job and is ready to tackle head-on the challenges Nigeria faces today. And that's why he has a 16 cardinal agenda which covers every area. Everybody is touched in this manifesto. The young, the old, women, youth, poor, middle class, the rich, the private sector, the public sector, the civil servants. It covers the gamut of Nigeria activities and industry.
If we look at this document, I took some time to read it. There are areas that are really fascinating, especially if we start with security. There's this area that is called, is it ABATS?
Yes.
Yes, that's about a special force.
Yes.
You know, on security. Then there was also the issue of a forest force, rangers, and so on. Can you give us insight into all of that?
Yeah. In this document, there are several new ideas that has come up due to serious, deep thinking about how to solve present challenges. Security is one area. If you look at the document, Asiwaju used the word obliterate. Obliterate banditry, terrorism, kidnapping. Look at the dictionary meaning of obliterate.
Wipe out.
Wipe out completely. It just to pass across to communicate to Nigerians that help is here.
Yes.
We need not worry. So part of the initiative is to create a special force of trained and skilled security personnel who will tackle banditry.
It calls them ABATTS, almost like
yes.
BAT.
Yes.
Because it discipline anti-terror battalion.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're going to use modern weaponry, intelligence, technology, area surveillance, etc., to fight terrorism.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you're talking about the forest regions here. To prevent violent groups, they're going to have what they call integrated identity database.
You know, today, we have different segments of identity management. We have the NIN, National Identification Numbers. We have the one the banking industry set up, which everybody who has a bank account has. We have the one the telecoms company keeps for all their clients. Now, what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision is we want to put all this together. Every Nigerian will have an identity, even from the day you are born to the day you go to your grave. So that the issue of security will be able to track terrorist movements, activities. If you don't have an identity, you are not a Nigerian.
Right.
And we can track you. And if you have an identity, once you step into a bank to do a banking transaction or you buy something, you will be tracked. Your movement is tracked. And that is the idea behind this national identity management as a weapon to fight terrorism and all forms of criminal activities.
He, still talking about security, also had the issue of working with state governments to establish or enhancement of civilian neighborhood watch. We already see some semblance of this with regards to the Amotekun and all of that. But there are those who are saying that there's no specificity as to regards issue of state police and addressing all of that in this document.
Yeah, Asiwaju has said it several times that he's fully in support of state police. The reason why it's not specifically mentioned there is because it's a constitutional matter. The constitution has to be amended first. You can't start making promises of something that you don't have full control over. As soon as the constitution is amended and state police is put in place, Asiwaju will be in the forefront to make sure that it's properly established in all the states of the federation and it works properly. I has to, of course, amend it with the federal police. There has to be certain protocols to ensure that there is no conflict. So all that we put in place in the medium to long term.
Even what Veronica has just said now, that aspect of it can also be transferred to the relationship between federal and state government.
Certainly.
In case of state police.
Certainly.
It's just a matter of understanding between the federal and the federating units.
Yes.
Now, he also said that police will no longer provide VIP security. And I'm wondering how that will work for a lot of persons, because we know how it is in the country with regards to this.
Well, you know, every one of us knows this situation, that it's not right for a larger part of the country to be left with inadequate policing. And a small segment of the country goes around with police escorts, and it's being misused. Government has said this several times, but Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to frontally and boldly confront this menace. It's going to ensure that only those who have the constitutional requirement to be secured by separate police units will have it. A lot of people who are not constitutionally protected by separate police units do have police. They go about. We all know this. And so this is an issue that, you know, and if you read the document very well, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu pays special attention to policing. He's going to reform the police system. He's going to expand the number of policemen. He plans to train and equip them. And he plans to also provide them with special protection in terms of insurance, empowerment, safety, and most of the things they lack today. So even the police should be smiling when they look at this renewed hope manifesto.
What's the spin-off from Lagos to this policy? Because, you know, Lagos was also at the forefront of making sure that in spite of federal control of the police force, Lagos had to create its own system of security when Lagos was actually under a lot of pressure.
Well, I mean, first of all, let me correct this impression maybe it might just want to create. Lagos doesn't have its own security system.
No, it doesn't. I'm saying that it worked, it was able to fund its own, create its own facilities and so on, came up with trust fund and stuff.
Lagos has been very smart. And thanks to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because when you look at Lagos with its high population, with its low density, and you see the propensity for crime, for high crime, you have to be creative to tackle it under a federal structure that we operate. We'll prefer state police in Lagos, certainly. But what did Asiwaju Bola Ahmed do? He set up a security trust fund. Let me raise additional fund to support the federal police. And that is what has been happening in Lagos. Support federal police not only with equipment and manpower, even with welfare. The police love to serve in Lagos. They prefer Lagos than being in any other part of the country because they are well taken care of in Lagos. And this is what is going to be federalized when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu becomes the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The police will have it very good.
All right. Let's look at the next issue that has to do with the economy, approach to prosperity. Give us, the insights into this aspect.
The Nigerian economy is very simple to understand. And I will bring it to the level of everybody.
Okay.
Our economy has always been a monoproduct economy. We rely on one product, oil. We export it. It brings in foreign exchange. And we use it to fund our budget. And we spend. Now, when you look at that kind of situation, we have over 120 million able-bodied men who can work. Jobs must be created so that they earn a living. Secondly, in creating jobs, we must be producing something. So this is the dot that Asiwaju is connecting in this manifesto. He says, I promise you that I will make Nigeria, particularly the youth, to create sufficient jobs so that people can have a better life. He says, I will make Nigeria the hub of manufacturing, a country of creators and inventors.
Right.
He said, I will make Nigeria export more and import less. This is how a country creates wealth and job. And I have no doubt that these promises that he's making, he will keep them. And you will see the rejuvenation of the Nigerian economy when we get to this level.
Yes, now you talk about budget, and they're going to change, review the budget methodology. Can you give some detail to that? Because it says here that they will usually, it's a budgetary custom basis our annual budget and fiscal policy largely on the dollar value of projected oil revenue.
Yeah,
but that is supposed to change.
Yes. What he's saying is this. If up to now we want to prepare our budget, we first of all estimate the price of oil, the volume that we are going to produce, and the potential revenue that comes in, and then we now build the budget around that.
Yes.
And so that makes us dependent on oil revenue. So we're not thinking of other sources of revenue. Other sources of revenue become subsidiary revenue
to oil.
To oil. So he wants to change that mindset. He wants to say that Nigeria can create more revenue internally. We can create a productive economy. So let's prepare our budget first based on what we intend to spend. Not what we're going to earn from oil. And then we now look at where we can raise revenue to meet our spending expectations or obligations.
Right.
So that is what he's saying here. So I want to encourage us to look beyond oil. We've been saying that for so many years, but he wants to make it happen this time around. That is diversification of the economy.
Yes.
There's also the aspect that is of interest to a lot of Nigerians. That's the revenue allocation between the federal and state governments, which he said will be adjusted to give states greater flexibility to foster grassroots economic development.
Yes, there are a lot of things in our constitution now that hampers states from independently growing their economy. Many times they have to go to Abuja to seek for one approval or the other. And so many of them just sit back and rely on the federation account to fund their budget and to grow their economy. Lagos is an exception. Lagos has been very creative on its own, using the same constitutional provision to create more revenue and jumpstart its economy. So what he's saying is that with him as president, he's going to use the Lagos model and encourage all other states and support them to be able to grow independently generated revenue, give them a lot of avenue so that they'll be less reliant on the center and more on individual states to explore their own potential. And if you look at this document, there are very, very many areas. In terms of industrial policy, it's going to create industrial hubs in different zones of the country.
I said so.
And in zones where they have competitive advantage, like in the northern parts of the country, agriculture is the mainstay. Yeah. They also have cotton, so the textile industries can grow. There are certain parts of the country that are into mining. It's going to create mining
the middle belt.
Yes, to help the artisanal miners and to create wealth. So all these things are agreed in these projects, in this document.
All right. We need to quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We've been having a conversation with the former Deputy Governor of Lagos State and APC chieftain Otumba Femi Pedro on the presidential candidate of the APC's manifesto tagged Renewed Hope. Now, before we went on the break, we were talking about the economy. And if you look at some of the projections made with regards to the gross domestic product, talking about for 2023, 533.3 billion naira. For 2024, we have 586.7 billion naira. And reactions are coming that this is quite ambitious.
It's very realistic. In fact, we could do a lot more than this if all Asiwaju has in this manifesto is implemented successfully.
So you are saying this is even conservative?
Very conservative. Nigeria has potential to triple this number. We have all that we need to triple the size of our economy. We have all the resources. We have the people. We have the manpower. We just need to train them. And we need direction, a leadership that can lead. And this is what he has put in this document. I'm ready to lead. And I can jumpstart this economy. I can create wealth. I can expand it. I can grow it. That's what he's saying here. And he has given us a roadmap to achieve this GDP. He says, let's establish manufacturing. Let's go into production. Let's put efforts in digital economy, new economy. Let's support entertainment. Let's support the music industry, tourism, culture. Those are new areas that are flourishing, even without government.
Yes.
And imagine if now government pumping support and incentives, tax incentives. Foreign investors will come in and say, hey, I want to invest in your Nollywood because I can get tax rebates. Those are the enabling environment is what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying. It's not saying I'm going to do the manufacturing. It's not saying I'm going to do the producing. It's saying I'm going to give you what you need to get to where we should get to.
Right. Yes, Abraham Lincoln once said about the task of government. Yes. He said the task of government is to do for the people or a community of people what they cannot have done by themselves, yes, or they cannot do so well by themselves.
Government is an enabler.
Enabler, yes.
Yeah, but in some cases, you will now find government doing the opposite.
Yes.
You understand? Making life difficult for people.
Trying to choke.
Choke.
Yes.
You understand? So Asiwaju Bola may say, I'm going to ease that for you. The ease of doing business that President Muhammad Buhari's administration has started, and they've done very well. There has been major improvement in Nigeria in doing business. Asiwaju Bola is going to now leapfrog that, such that if you want to come into Nigeria and go into manufacturing, you understand, you don't have to go through so many red tapeism. It make it a lot easier for you. Every aspect of registering your business, starting your business, even in land allocation, because of the Land Use Act,
yes,
which gives the state government the power to give land.
The latitude,
the latitude, and of course the constitutional power to provide land. 4 factors of production: land is very critical. Labor, we have it. Capital, we don't have enough. Entrepreneurship, we need to train people. We have the people who are ready to work. And you put all this together. Now, in this document, Asiwaju mentioned so many places on infrastructure. There is even an infrastructure plan.
Yes. National infrastructure campaign.
Yes, and there's creative ways of funding infrastructure. And let me commend this present administration. You know, they have been very creative in funding infrastructure.
Yes.
You have heard of the Sukuk bond.
Yes.
You have heard of tax rebate from major companies. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to build on this and bring in more innovative measures to fund infrastructure. When he says, I'm going to build new highways, I'm going to build many roads, bridges, I'm going to complete the rail projects, and people will be wondering, where is this money coming from? Let me tell you where the money is going to come from. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to use the Lagos template to quadruple the national revenue.
For instance, in Lagos, people are not paying attention to the fact that even the red line and blue line, they are not done with loans.
No. No. So going to use the template to quadruple. Already as it is, the FIRS, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will put the right people in the FIRS. They will block loopholes, leakages.
That's what I was coming to. Like they're trying to bring the Lagos model of revenue generation to the center, so that
at the same time, when people hear revenue generation, they have the fear that there will be increase in tax. Actually, has not mentioned anything about it's not increasing tax.
It says
it's
so,
not.
yeah.
In fact, it's going to even give tax rebate to so many companies because let me explain to you.
During times of economic weakness, increasing taxation is counterproductive.
Exactly.
Higher taxes drain an already weakened private sector. That is what led to the fall of Liz Truss.
Exactly. So we have enough in our tax system to plug loopholes and make people who are supposed to pay the right taxes pay. And we can generate new revenue. And let me tell you, see, when you improve industrialization, manufacturing, new exports, import substitution, tax revenue grows naturally. That's what you call fiscal responsibility. You don't need to increase. Just make the economy work better. Taxes will come in and then make collection more efficient. So revenue drive is very key. It's very critical. And you know, I'm sorry, let me just mention one point.
Because I want us to make best use of the time.
Okay. I remember when he spoke at the unveiling of the manifesto. He said, if borrowing is a crime, the whole of America will be in jail. What he's saying is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with borrowing. Provided the money you borrow, you put it in productive use. It can pay itself back, create more revenue, generate the economy, and grow the economy. You can't stifle yourself, say, I don't want to borrow, I'm going to starve. Do you understand? This is an economy that has all it takes to function. All you need is injection of new capital and new funds to generate wealth. And that's what he's saying.
He talked about the exchange rate here. And this I said, he was talking about exchange rate policy to harmonize it with our goals of optimal growth and job creation driven by industrial, agricultural, and infrastructure expansion. We work with central bank and the financial sector to carefully review and better optimize the exchange rate regime. You know, the exchange rate has been a problem. For instance, there's also the fact that there is a round tripping with the exchange rate, what is official and what is not official. And people are making money and even tossing the naira by
people ask me questions. Say, what is Asiwaju's plan on bringing the value of the naira to dollar rate down? And I said to them, the plan is here. See, naira dollar rate today is 7 rand something in the black market. Why? Because there's shortage of dollars, demand and supply. And those who want dollar can't get it, so they have to beat up the price. Exactly, beat up the price for it to. So it's simple. The third paragraph of his promise, exports more, imports less. Answer that question. Now you ask me, how do you intend to achieve this? The devil is in the detail. If we have time, I will take you through. But he has his vision.
You can summarize it. You can summarize it
in his mind.
Yeah.
The vision is industrialization. Get the country to work. When we import less, we don't need as much foreign exchange as we are consuming now.
Yes.
When we export more, we earn more. And export more, of course, oil and non-oil. Oil today, we are producing less. Almost less than 1 million barrels a day. Our OPEC quota is much more than that.
Yes.
We are not meeting our quota.
Yes.
A part of our production is stolen, oil theft and vandalism, and you know. So all this is going to plug. And by the time we start producing up to capacity, oil revenue comes in naturally. So we are already meeting our needs on foreign exchange. Now, when it starts to encourage and promote exportation and import substitution, do you understand? The naira naturally comes down. We have seen it happen before in Nigeria. It's not the first time. So people should not lose sleep over saying, oh, by next year it will be 1,000. When Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu becomes president, the announcement effect of the result of the election will bring down the value of the naira.
Now that you have spoken about
of the dollar.
Now that you have spoken
the announcement
about oil,
effect, when people say
I want to know the fuel subsidy matter.
The new president of the United States, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been elected as president, you will see the black market will go jitter.
All right.
They will start bringing down the rates because they don't want to be caught with expensive dollar in their pockets. So they want to quickly sell off. This man is here, help us come.
All right. Now that you've spoken about oil, he has talked about phasing out fuel subsidy, but yet maintain the underlying social contract between government and the people, but agrees that the removal of the subsidy and the regulation are only part of the solution. Speak to that.
First of all, everybody agrees that the subsidy is an aberration. Okay. Yes, we want the price of oil to come down. It's simply demand and supply. It's the same thing with the price of dollar. If we have refined petroleum in abundance, we won't have to import and we won't have to subsidize. Do you understand? So there is plan in the works already. We are praying to God Almighty that by the time Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sworn in as president, Dangote refinery is up and running. So we have more than enough refined petroleum coming into the country. So the price will naturally...
It's also an irony. Asiwaju created the corridor.
Yes,
and
for Dangote to be there. Now, Dangote is going to, be a major part of this.
How about revitalizing other refineries? Is that also part of the plan?
Well, I am not 100% sure because it's not mentioned in his document. They have been talking about either selling them off or revitalizing them. It's been on for all these years. But the bottom line is that once he becomes president, he's going to make sure we import less refined petroleum. In fact, it's going to come down to almost zero. And then we start producing our own refined petroleum here in Nigeria. And then this need for subsidy will be totally eliminated.
He talked about this gas. Let's go to oil and gas.
Yes,
now. This
I will
pipeline.
explain that.
Yeah.
In fact, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been talking about this gas pipeline for over 2 years now.
Yes.
Even before the Russia and Ukraine war. And what is happening? Nigeria has abundant gas reserves.
Yes.
Most of it will flare away.
Yeah.
Thanks to LNG project, which allowed us to bottle our gas and ship them to Europe. But there are two ways to sell gas. It's either you pipe it or you bottle it in liquefied. So we are doing the bottled one liquefied. It's very cumbersome. It takes time to ship it to get to their destination. But when you pipe it, you pump the gas into the pipe, it goes straight. Now, what is happening?
Between China, between Russia and Europe.
Europe now depends 60% of their gas needs from Russia. And they even spent their money, created a special purpose company to build a pipeline connecting Russia to Europe. Now, the war started, and Russia started to use that as a political weapon to get Europe to back down.
The gas.
Yes, to back down on their whatever. So Asiwaju Bola Ahmed was saying, I've been saying this thing. If we had built this gas pipeline from Nigeria across the Sahara, all the way to Europe, it looks long, but it's doable.
It's very doable.
Just like you lay cable under the water for internet connectivity.
Yes.
And say if we had done that today, we would be swimming in money.
with collaboration with them, so they will be very happy to deal with us.
And he's saying that as soon as I become president, it will be one of my priority projects. Because it's a project that will bring in additional revenue for the country.
Huge revenue.
Yes, let's quickly run to this other aspect that a lot of Nigerians are interested in, which has to do with power. And he said one aspect is eliminating estimated billing.
Yes.
I wonder how he's going to achieve that with what is the situation on ground. We know there are bottlenecks with a lot of persons getting prepaid meters.
The simple solution, produce more meters. And it's going to make it a priority to support meter producers to come in and step up their work. Once you have enough meter eliminated billing in states, actually, what is not going to come there and just decree that there is no more estimated billing. Once you release meters to the people, you make it available. Everybody will have meters. And he put it in his manifesto. He said, I'm going to support producers of meter. I'm going to make sure that they produce
like Akwa Ibom government also is doing that. They are producing meters too.
The power system, Asiwaju has studied it. He understands it very well. It's clear in his mind what is to be done. And a lot of it is being done by this administration. It's just that the result is slow in coming. And by the time he becomes president, the cement project will have been on stream. That will add additional about almost 600 to 700 megawatts to what we already have nationally. And we're going to produce more. What is happening to our power situation? We have capacity for 12,000 megawatts.
But we only do 4
which is enough, at least to a large extent, to power Nigeria. We need more, but if we have that 12,000 working fully, we'll be fairly okay. Do you understand? But our generating capacity, actual generation is about 8,000 megawatts because of shortages of gas, of vandalism, and here and there. And out of that 8,000, we are only able to distribute 4,500. So the first task Asiwaju will do is to bridge that gap between generating capacity and what we distribute. And that can be done with good reform. And then going through the process, making sure that all the bottlenecks along the way is tackled, put the right people in the right place. Asiwaju is a master of doing that. He fished me out of the banking industry as a managing director. I didn't know, I didn't campaign for the job. He picked me out and said, come and be my deputy. He picked Yemi Osinbajo from University of Lagos as a professor of law, come and be my attorney general. He picked Yemi Cardoso from the banking industry, come and be my commissioner for planning. He picked Wale Edu from IBTC, come and be my commissioner for finance. And so many other people. Do you understand? Imagine what this man will do when he becomes president. He's going to go the nooks and crannies of the world, not only Nigeria, and pick out the best that will also represent our diversity. Every state in the nation will have its people in its government. Every gender. Even, let me tell you something innovative. He's saying that in my cabinet, I'm reserving 6 cabinet positions for people under 40 years old. So I want the youth of Nigeria to hear this. You have a seat in Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu cabinet. It's in the manifesto. He said additional number of people who are over 50 will be in my cabinet. And he said 35% of my cabinet will be women. He has already made provision, and these are promises he's making to the whole of Nigeria. So the young people of Nigeria, this manifesto is for you. He has spoken about digital economy, technology. You don't need to do Yahoo anymore. Use your brain, your knowledge, your intelligence. Tap into Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's economic revolution, and you will see the results. Young people, I'm appealing to you. You don't need to. See, I wrote a book on formula for wealth. If you take a copy of that book, I read it, you will see what I'm talking about there. And you know, in that book, I wrote 3 years ago, I devoted a chapter to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I didn't even know that he would run for president. I was saying that this is the kind of leader Nigeria needs. And he has tapped into this area for young people. And I want them to listen to me very carefully. If this manifesto is in soft copy and it will go viral, I want them to read it. I want them to tap into Asiwaju's vision. There's no need to japa anymore. Those who stay in Nigeria today will benefit the greater things coming tomorrow. Those who go away, by the time they come back, they probably will queue up behind those who are already here. Tap into what is available. This man is coming to change the face of Nigeria. and it will happen.
No.
Yeah, there's also education.
Yes, that was where I wanted us to go.
It talked about introducing a
Student
loan
loans.
system, student
Yes.
loan. Yes.
That's a fantastic idea. We have that system in the West, which enabled anybody who wants to have an education to have an education, knowing fully well that education will bring you opportunity for good jobs. And it's like an investment in your life, in your future. Do you understand?
Yes.
And then by the time you start handing money, you pay back the cost of the education. All right? Now, we are seeing what has happened in Nigeria. The federal government is fully funding tertiary education. And it's been a struggle over the years. As the country gets tighter economically, it becomes more and more difficult for government to create that revenue, generate that revenue to pump into tertiary education. And what has happened? Falling standards, long strikes. You know, government unable to meet its obligations and commitments. Asiwaju is saying that by the time I become president, strikes will be a thing of the past. And how do you achieve this? Reform the tertiary education system.
Yes.
Let the university bring in creative ideas of funding education. We cannot take away, we cannot yank off. It's not saying it's yanking off federal support for education. No, it will continue. Do you understand? But it will now be complemented by other sources of funding, including charging reasonably modest fee as tuition. And knowing fully well that not all the students are from homes where their parents can afford a higher tuition, it will give them an opportunity to take a loan to bridge that gap. So this is the idea. It is better for you to go to university, finish in 4 years, graduate, and move on with your life than to get stuck in a system that will take you 6, 7 years because you are paying peanuts. Do you understand? So people will prefer, if it's going to cost me a few hundreds of thousands of naira to finish my education, I would rather if I have the opportunity to take a loan. And this loan will be interest-free. It will create that enabling environment. It will create that structure to enable funds to be put in place so that students can tap into it.
No, this will work in the context of a very good database.
Yes, it's part of the national identification system.
There are those, with regards to this matter, you know, a lot of reactions have come with regards to this matter that this current administration also promised something similar, but did not deliver on that. And so what is Asiwaju going to do different?
Yes. See, in fairness to President Buhari, and I will say this publicly, a lot of people are amplifying the areas of weakness, but they are overlooking many areas of strength where he has performed. And I can give 2 reasons why there's a shortfall between promises and performances during this government's regime.
Right.
One, the COVID pandemic shut down the entire world for almost 2 years. The inflation we are seeing in Nigeria today is imported inflation. There's global crisis all over the world. Nigeria is not an exception, and we suffered it. Investment flow into the country was cut short. Economic activity was delayed. There was a time, over a 6-month period, we sold 0 oil. We were looking for people to buy our oil because even tankers could not move. So promises, yes, can be made. External factors could come in and limit your ability to perform. Do you understand? But I will give it to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he thinks ahead. Even when those external factors come in, we will find ways around them to be able to ensure that it meets with his expectations.
He says that these loans have already are going to be modeled after what you have in Lagos and Kaduna, Kaduna states. And this will expand access to education to all Nigerians regardless of their backgrounds. Then there's also the Special Education Fund, which it says for the near and medium term, the government must provide the bulk of funding for our tertiary institution. Though through new legislation, government will establish a special education fund consisting of 0-coupon federal bonds.
Yes. That's where the students' loan fund will come from. Do you understand? 0 coupon means 0 interest rate. And so 0 interest rate will be passed on to the students. So they are borrowing, and I'm a finance person.
Yeah.
Okay, borrowing is the most difficult thing for any enterprise, because when you borrow, the interest is charged at compound interest rates. What that means is that if you take 100 naira and you are supposed to pay 10%, that is 10 naira interest rate. Yeah. By the time the tenure ends in 1 year, your loan is no longer 100 naira, it is now 110 naira. And you are going to pay 10% over 110 naira, not over 100 naira. Do you understand? So it multiplies, and it becomes difficult for the borrower to service. So when you have zero interest rate, it takes away half of the headache. And it makes it easier for a student to approach this facility, and it's a fantastic idea. And I'm sure Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will deliver on it.
Right. Speaking about delivery, you understand that there's this issue between government and the people. That's the aspect of trust.
Yes.
I want you to talk about that, because yes, it's not part of the document, but it is critical to, this document.
Yes.
How he can build that trust deficit to get the buying of the people into all of his ideas.
Thank you very much. The trust deficit does not just appear today. It's a combination of almost 60 years of nationhood. And over the years, Nigerians have developed that ability not to trust their governments. But Asiwaju's situation is different. He already has a template. If you follow the trajectory of his campaign, he's been using Lagos. I've done this in Lagos. The example is on ground. I created LASMA. It's on ground. I expanded Loma. It's on ground. I built roads. I built bridges. I built people. Do you understand? So that trust deficit should not be there.
Because I've done it.
I've done it. Nigeria should just examine his own achievements and performance. He has something to show for it. Let the other candidates tell us where they can point to, what they have done to make a difference. So Nigerians trust Tinubu. He does what he says. He promised us in Lagos.
Before,
he delivered. So he promised us when he came in 1999, I will do he had a manifesto in 1999. I was part of that committee. I was in the Committee of Finance and Revenue Generation. And he set templates and he made projection. And he met most of it by the time he left office. So Nigerians trust Tinubu, he will deliver.
There's also the question of he's going to have to hit against a lot of bricks to get some of this done.
The man is bold. He's courageous. He's fair. He will do what he says. And he's capable.
We have to leave the conversation here now, but we must thank you, former Deputy Governor of Lagos State and APC chieftain Otumba Femi Pedro, for your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.